Hey guys, this is a quick guide on how to deploy your SaasRock instance to Fly as the hosting provider and Supabase as the database provider. I'm gonna do the bare minimum, meaning I'm not gonna use Stripe or Novu or Postmark. I'm just gonna use the minimum required variables in order to a SaasRock instance to work, like server URL, domain name, database URL, and session secret. I think I'm missing one, but we're going to start from scratch. So the first thing that I'm going to do is clone a SaasRock instance from GitHub and my username. I know I should have made this an organization for SaasRock, but anyway, if you're going to use the enterprise edition, is -enterprise. Otherwise, it's just /SaasRock. Oops. So the project name will be Fly Supa, and once it's cloned, I'm gonna go inside the folder and install the dependencies. And this will take a while because my Wi-Fi connection is not great. So I'm gonna tell you that you, of course, need a Fly.io account and a Supabase account. But you can use like neon.tech as the database provider, or I use Fly Postgres sometimes. So Supabase is not required. I just like to deploy all my projects there. Now I'm gonna type code space dot to open a VS Code window on my project, and then Command J in Mac to open the terminal. And I'm gonna stop this server, the default BIP server running on port 4000, and clearing the terminal. And now, before running npm run dev, I need to duplicate or copy paste env.example and rename it to .env. This will be my local environment file with my local environment variables. Now, the application name, I'm gonna set Fly Supa, and server URL, I'm just gonna leave this on the default port, which is 3000. The domain name, I know that when I'm deploying to Fly, it's something like Fly Supa Fly Dev, if this slug or subdomain is available. And the session secret, you can leave this like this, but of course change it when you're deploying. And now these are not required, but you can use them, of course. Now the other one that is required is database URL. Now I have this local Postgres on this application that is called Postgres app. It's pretty cool. But you can use SQLite or MySQL or MongoDB or any other Prisma supported database for your local environment. I'm just going to use Postgres because the schema, I just want it to be the same on local and on the production environment. So this is my local host server on the default port, and the database, if it's not created, it will create it when I run npx prisma db push. Now, some of you have already encountered issues with npx prisma migrate dev, running all the migrations, which are all these files. So if you have issues with that, just run this npx prisma db push. It will push the changes to the database, creating the models or tables. Now, after that is created or updated, we're gonna run npx prisma db seed. This will go to the seed service function and create the admin user and some testing users and tenants and permissions. You can change this when you're seeding a production database. And now let's run npm run dev. So this is a fresh install, empty, without any override of features or the landing page or anything. I'm just gonna deploy it as is. I just want to make sure that it works. And now it should take around 5 to 10 seconds on the first compilation. So now it's working. And actually I could test that I can log in as the admin user, which is the default one is let's sign out because I already did that like 20 minutes ago. Admin@email.com, and the default password is password. So it works. Now, I want to deploy this to Fly. But before deploying to Fly, because I want to have my database URL environment or secret, environment variable or secret already set, first I'm going to create a Supabase project with this link, database.new. And here you need to set the application name, the password, and the region. And I'm going to use Fly Supa, and they have a free tier, so it's nice for testing a project and upgrade because it's pretty fast. And on the database password, I'm just going to use a strong password generator. I'm not recommending this. I'm just going to use a random string. So I'm going to save this somewhere on my environment so I can use it later. And this one, I'm going to paste it here, database password. Now, the region is important because it depends on your Fly region that you're going to use. In my case, on the fly.toml file, this is the configuration for the Fly application. And I'm going to actually rename the application name to Fly Supa. And you'd want to set the primary region that is going to be as close as you with your users as possible. In my case, I'm using the Virginia region. So on Supabase, I need to make sure that I use the same region. Now, this will take a while to generate the project, or I think it's almost instant. And yeah. So here I now have this, well, this is not required for the first deployment, but I'm just gonna copy because I already have it and paste it on the Supabase key. And for the Supabase API URL, I'm just gonna use this URL. And now I can actually, well, I don't have a complex workflow where when I deploy or push a commit, it updates the production database and sees if it's something pending. So what I do is temporarily comment the database URL locally and use the production database connection string. So on Supabase, I'm gonna go to project settings and database. And maybe for seeding, I'm not going to use connection pooling. Let's see if this works. So I'm going to paste it here and change the password that I pasted here and update your password. And now let me try npx prisma db push. So it will try to connect to the database, the production database on Supabase, and it will generate the models. So let's see. So they're already created, or at least the majority of them. And let's wait for it to complete, because after we're going to run npx prisma db seed and see if we have any issues. We shouldn't, but let's see. Okay, so now it's trying to seed the production database. It's doing all of these things, creating the admin user, creating the users with tenants, creating some tenants, the application roles, the admin roles, and I think that's just it. So yeah, the production database is ready to be tested. Now, you can follow this README deploy Fly guide, and I'm actually going to use that because I'm going to copy this command. After setting the primary region, as I said, and the application name, you should create your application. And now you put a name like Fly Supa, in my case. And I have a few organizations, so I'm going to put it on the default one, which is my personal account. And now setting the secrets. Now, you can, if you already have all the secrets, that's optimal, but the only required ones are the ones that I set: application name, server URL, domain name, database URL, and the session secret. So I'm just going to remove all of this: Supabase key, Stripe, support email that is used for transactional emails. postmark server token. API access token is used when you're using the API, the auto-generated API. JWT secret is the same when you're using the API. I'm not going to use that. Crypto secret when you're storing secrets like workflow credentials that should not be stored plain. Now, I'm going to focus on this. So I don't want to store this on Fly example. So instead, I'm going to duplicate this and put it on production, just so I have like a local file for my production variables that I'm going to use over and over again when I'm testing. So I'm going to remove all of this and just keep that and change the name to Fly Supa and your application name flysupa.fly.dev. This is the server URL. Now the domain name is the same as this, but without the HTTPS. And database URL, I'm gonna paste here the connection string, but with pooling. So use connection pooling, copy, and paste it here. Well, you need to be careful of not deleting this character because it indicates a new line. And by the way, when you are setting the secrets, if you by mistake set like an empty string, the command will stop on that empty variable. So it may seem that it updated the machine, but it stopped there. So be careful. If you're not gonna set a variable, just remove it. So in my case, I'm just gonna use a random string for session secret. And now Fly Supa is my application name. Now I'm gonna copy paste this on the terminal. And now secrets are staged for the first deployment. And yeah, I think that's it. Let's try Fly deploy. So going back to the README file to deploy to Fly. Yeah, Fly deploy. Well, to be honest, I'm not sure if remote only is necessary. I think if you're not using this, maybe it builds the Docker container locally. I'm not sure. But yeah, I use 50-50. Sometimes with flags, sometimes without it. I never have issues with either one of them. Now, while this is deploying, I'm just going to explain this. You can scale your machines. Fly supports or offers a free tier, but if you're starting to get more users, your applications will crash. So I suggest that you immediately scale at least to the second level CPU size, which is this one, CPU 2x. It's pretty cheap. So even I think it's less than $5, and Fly offers like a discount for the first $5, so it's actually free. And these instructions are optional, like setting the custom domain for your application instead of like flysupa.fly.dev. So this is pretty simple as well. You need to set create the certificate and then use or set your A and quadruple A records on your DNS provider. In my case, I use Cloudflare after buying the domains on Namecheap. So this is still building, and it sometimes takes like 4 minutes. So I'm gonna cut this part of the video. So yeah, it's now completed, the deployment. It took around, I think, 6 minutes on my machine. So you maybe should use the remote only flag when using Fly deploy command because it may be faster. Yeah, it took around 6 minutes. So I can actually go to my URL called flysupa.fly.dev and it should work. Now, if it doesn't work, you need to check your logs. In my case, it's flysupa/monitoring. monitoring. And sometimes the application cycles. And when that happens, you can try and run this command. On readme fly, we have this fly scale VM to the second level that I told you about, the shared CPU 2x. Because I think sometimes it runs out of memory. But this can still be free, because if it doesn't go to the above the $5 of usage limit, it will be free. So in my case, it worked. Now I can actually go ahead and log in. Well, not really, because if I use the admin email, this is done on purpose. If I try to log in, it will say you cannot use this account in production, because if someone knows that you're using SaasRock and you forgot to delete the admin email and you seed it that way, you can actually be quote unquote hacked. And the same with other users like John Doe at company is the same thing. So you need to go on to your environment local file and make sure that the database URL is the production database, and go to seed service and change this admin email. In my case, I can use like my email and stop the application and run npx prisma db seed. Of course, updating the dashboard, the password is a good idea, like abc123. Well, not that, but something like that. And well, not something like that, but you get the point. I'm gonna use this one, and it will ignore all the other already seed things. So now it's not seeded, and I can actually use that and ABC123. So we're now logged in, and it works. So yeah, we can try the application like creating a new entity like employee, slug employees, and create a new property called first name. And let's actually create a property of type media. And we want to set like an image, because I want to show you that whenever you didn't set your Supabase API key and API URL, Supabase URL, I think, your files are not going to be stored on Supabase storage. Obviously, it's going to use the base64 format. I'm going to go to accounts and users and click here on this tenant slug and go to employees and create one like me, and the image I'm going to use this one, and it actually works. But this image, if I open it in a new tab, is on data image base64 format. So there are two ways that you can update your production secrets or environment variables. On Fly, you have this secrets screen where you can create it here. So I'm gonna put my environment Supabase API URL name here and put the value on the secret field and set the secret. This will not be instantly updated. It needs a Fly deploy again. Or you can update your variables with this other method. I'm gonna copy the Supabase key environment variable and use it on, save it on .m.fly.production and paste it here. And I'm gonna use this command, fly secrets set, and this is the variable. You can use multi-line like using this character. And at the end, double dash app and my app name, and use the terminal to update my machines. And actually this will hit deployment and update this pending variable. So let's wait and test creating another employee. But first we need to wait for the machines to be updated. And yeah, let me know if you want another guide like this for Vercel. I still need to figure out how to fix the Vercel plus bit. Vercel plus remix plus bit configuration on SaasRock. And if you want me to try like Cloudflare or sst.dev, DigitalOcean, Netlify, let me know. This is my preferred method of hosting because it's pretty quick and I got used to it, and it's pretty comfortable. So let's try again. Alexandra 2, and we're gonna make sure that the secret was correctly set by making sure this file is stored on Supabase. Yeah, it's now downloaded, so it works. There you have it, Fly plus Supabase for SaasRock production ready SaaS applications.